What happens when a veteran and his trusted Kun-9 pack are called to rescue people trapped in a disaster zone, only to stumble upon something so shocking that it turns their entire mission upside down? Jake Carter, a retired Special Forces soldier, thought his days of high-stakes missions were behind him. Living a peaceful life with his Kun-9 pack in a quiet town, he relished the calm after years of dangerous operations. But that calm is about to shatter. The call comes in. A disaster has struck. A small town, once thriving, is now in ruins, and the search and rescue team needs his expertise. The wreckage is unimaginable, and the stakes are higher than ever. Jake's Kun-9 Sud, his loyal companions from countless missions, are ready for action. They have saved lives together before, but today the mission holds a different weight. Jake's bond with his dogs is more than just a partnership. It's a connection forged in the heat of battle, a bond that goes beyond commands and obedience. The dogs, highly trained and instinctive, have always been the backbone of their operations, guiding him through life-or-death situations. But today, something's different. Today, it's not just about rescuing those trapped in rubble. Today, it's about uncovering a dark secret, a discovery that no one could have anticipated. As Jake and his Kun-9 pack navigate the devastated streets, the damage is worse than they imagined. Collapsed buildings, fires still smoldering, and cries for help echo through the silence. But as they work to locate survivors, something doesn't feel right. The scent in the air is different. The dogs, usually calm and focused, are on edge. Rex, the lead Kun-9, starts growling uncontrollably at a nearby building, signaling something beyond the obvious. His instincts are telling him to stay away, but Jake, ever the professional, decides to investigate. It's not long before they uncover an underground bunker, something hidden beneath the wreckage, something that wasn't supposed to be there. The team, thinking they are just doing their usual job, suddenly find themselves at the heart of a much darker conspiracy. Inside the bunker, they find criminal activity, weapons, illegal operations, and a network running under the guise of a disaster relief effort. Jake's heart races as he realizes the people they are rescuing aren't just victims of a natural disaster, they are part of something far more sinister. In this moment, everything changes. The search and rescue mission is no longer just about saving lives. It's about stopping a criminal operation that could have devastating consequences for the entire region. The stakes are no longer about finding survivors. They're about stopping an unseen enemy who has been operating in the chaos. Jake's heart pounds as the weight of the situation hits him. His team, trained for the worst, is facing something far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. And with Rex leading the way, the Kun-9 pack becomes their lifeline, guiding them through the danger, staying one step ahead of those who would stop them from uncovering the truth. It's not just a mission anymore, it's a race against time to expose the conspiracy and keep everyone safe. This discovery will change everything, but it's just the beginning. The fight for justice and the survival of those who are trapped has only just begun, and in a world where danger lurks at every corner, Jake knows one thing for sure: his Kun-9 pack is his only true ally. Stay tuned to see what happens next in this gripping high-stakes story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this battle against the unknown. The phone rings, breaking the silence of Jake's quiet life. It's an urgent call from the local search and rescue team, and their message is clear: they need Jake's help. Civilians are missing in the wake of a devastating natural disaster, and despite all their resources, they are hitting a wall. The team's been working around the clock, but the conditions are far worse than they could have imagined. Collapsed buildings, rubble, and an overwhelming sense of chaos have turned the disaster zone into a battlefield. No one is making progress, and lives are slipping away. The searchers are growing desperate, and they know Jake, with his specialized training and his Kun-9 pack, is their last hope. Jake listens, his mind still lingering on the peaceful life he'd built after leaving the military behind. He's retired, content to live a quiet life with his dogs, away from the chaos of his past. But the urgency in the voice on the other end of the phone stirs something deep inside him. The Kun-9 pack, his loyal companions, have been by his side through thick and thin. The moment they hear the call, they're already at the door, eager to jump back into action. It's as if they know this mission is theirs. Jake's hesitation lingers for a moment longer, But the look in Rex's eyes, the lead dog who's been through it all with him, says it all. The team's bond is more than just professional. It's a brotherhood. They've seen too much together to ignore the call. The dogs are ready, and Jake knows he's needed. The quiet life, at least for now, must wait. It's time to return to the field, back into the chaos where he belongs. With a heavy sigh, Jake agrees. The mission is on. He grabs his gear, straps it on, and signals his dogs to follow. This isn't just another rescue mission, it's personal. It's about lives, but it's also about proving that no matter how far he's come from the battlefield, he's still ready to fight for those who need it most. The pack moves as one, heading toward a disaster zone that is anything but quiet. Jake and his K9 pack dive into the disaster zone, moving through the wreckage with military precision. The landscape is a chaotic scene of broken buildings, twisted metal, and crushed vehicles. The dogs are on high alert, sniffing through the debris, following every scent trail with an intensity that only they can bring. For the moment, everything seems like a typical rescue mission. They locate several survivors, trapped but alive, and quickly bring them to safety. It's a small victory, but it's a victory nonetheless. However, as they press on, something doesn't feel right. Rex, the lead dog who's been by Jake's side for years, starts to behave strangely. His usual confidence is gone. Instead of charging ahead with the pack, he stops, his ears twitching, his nose sniffing the air with growing unease. Jake notices it first. A low growl, deeper than usual, reverberates through Rex's chest. It's not the usual sound of caution or distress. This is something else. Rex refuses to move any closer to an abandoned building in the distance. He sits down, his body tense, eyes locked on the structure. Jake's instincts kick in. He's been in enough dangerous situations to recognize that something is wrong. It's more than just a dog's normal reaction to a ruined building. Rex isn't just scared, he's warning him. Jake leans down, his hand on Rex's fur trying to calm him, but it's no use. Rex's eyes stay fixed on the building, his growls intensifying. Jake takes a deep breath, weighing his options. Could there be something inside, a survivor, or something more? His curiosity and training push him forward. He signals to the rest of the K9 pack to stay alert and moves cautiously toward the structure. The building is collapsed in several places, its foundation cracked, but it's still standing, looming ominously against the hazy sky. As Jake gets closer, he realizes the building's damage goes beyond the natural disaster. There's something about it that feels wrong. The windows are dark, but there's an eerie sense of silence around it. He cautiously steps inside, his hand on the hilt of his sidearm. Rex remains outside, his posture rigid, unwilling to move closer. Jake's suspicion grows. What is this place hiding? It doesn't seem like a typical part of the disaster zone. As he scans the interior, he notices strange markings on the walls, signs of recent activity, and a faint smell in the air. His military training tells him that this is no ordinary building. It feels like something has been concealed here, something dangerous. Jake's heart pounds as he takes a step deeper into the darkness. What was once a simple rescue mission has now turned into a dangerous investigation. Whatever is lurking in the shadows of this building is about to pull Jake and his K9 pack into a much darker and more sinister mystery than they ever could have imagined. Jake carefully navigates through the debris, his K9 pack close behind, when something catches his eye. A faint outline beneath the rubble, the unmistakable shape of a trapdoor. His heart skips a beat. With Rex leading the way, Jake approaches the structure, his mind racing. Could it be a cellar, a hidden storage area? The dogs, still on edge, seem to sense the shift in energy. There's something unnerving about this place, and Jake can feel it deep in his gut. He clears the rubble, revealing a hidden bunker entrance. The moment the door creaks open, an overwhelming stench of damp earth and decay fills the air. But what strikes him most is the cold silence that greets him from within. His military instincts tell him to proceed with caution. This isn't just an abandoned shelter, it's something far more suspicious. As Jake steps inside, the dim light reveals a largely untouched underground facility, one that seems oddly out of place amidst the devastation. The walls are lined with makeshift equipment and crates, but the real shock comes when Jake and his dogs discover the treasure trove hidden in plain sight. illicit activities that immediately suggest a much larger, deeply entrenched criminal operation. Rex whimpers as he sniffs the crates, which are filled with illegal goods, drugs, weapons, and disguised shipments meant for trafficking. Jake's stomach churns. The disaster zone, once thought to be a site of chaos and destruction, now reveals itself as the perfect cover for a criminal network. The timing couldn't be worse. The chaos of the disaster gave these criminals a unique opportunity to set up operations under the radar, and now Jake and his K9 pack have walked right into the heart of it. His mind starts to race as he pieces together the clues. He was brought in to rescue people, but now he stumbled upon something far bigger. The bunker is just the tip of the iceberg. The fact that these illegal operations have been running unnoticed amidst such devastation shocks him. Could this be part of a larger conspiracy? How many other places like this exist, hidden in plain sight? Jake's thoughts shift rapidly. The stakes have changed. Saving lives is no longer the only goal. Exposing this operation becomes critical. What seemed like a standard rescue mission has now turned into a mission of national importance, one that could unravel a network of criminal activity spreading across the region. His team quickly realizes the gravity of the situation. They're not just fighting against the clock to save survivors. They are now up against an enemy that has been hiding in the chaos, using it as a shield. As Jake looks at his K9 size, his resolve hardens. This is no longer just about finding the missing. It's about stopping an insidious operation before it grows beyond control. The discovery sends shockwaves through Jake's mind. The world around him suddenly feels more dangerous, more layered than he ever anticipated. What started as a straightforward mission now leads him into an uncharted war, where the enemies are well hidden, and the battle is no longer just about survival. It's about exposing the dark web of secrets that's been lurking beneath the surface all along. Time is now Jake's greatest enemy. The moment he uncovers the underground bunker, everything changes. The stakes have escalated, and with the criminal network now exposed, Jake knows they can't afford to waste any more time. Every second counts. He urgently starts gathering as much evidence as he can, taking photos, marking locations, and even collecting physical evidence from the crates. With the authorities already notified, he can only hope they'll make it in time. But deep down, Jake knows that these criminals are not going to sit idly by and let their operations be exposed. As the countdown begins, Jake and his dogs, Rex leading the way, race against the clock. The air is thick with tension as they move quickly through the debris, but the danger isn't just in the ruined buildings or the collapsed structures. It's in the very heart of the operation itself. The criminal network, once thought to be operating quietly in the shadows, is now fully aware of Jake's discovery, and they'll stop at nothing to cover their tracks. Jake's instincts tell him to move fast, but not recklessly. He knows the criminals have eyes and ears in the area. The silence is broken only by the sound of his boots crunching over the broken ground, and the low growls of his canine size, who are just as alert as ever. The dog's heightened senses are more valuable now than ever, guiding Jake through the wreckage and picking up on every small detail that could lead to a new piece of the puzzle. Suddenly, Jake hears movement, footsteps, faint but unmistakable. His heart races. They're not alone. Hostile forces are closing in. The criminals are here trying to make sure that nothing connects them to the disaster zone, desperate to eliminate any evidence before it can reach the authorities. Jake quickly signals his dogs to remain silent, blending into the shadows. The tension is palpable as they move carefully through the rubble, trying to avoid detection. A sudden rustle of leaves, a faint shadow darting across the broken street. Jake's body goes into autopilot, his training kicking in. His hand tightens around his weapon. They've found him. The first shot rings out from the distance, breaking the silence. The criminals are making their move. Jake doesn't hesitate. The battle is on. The next moments feel like a blur. The dogs are out in front, tracking down the source of the gunfire. The criminals' plan to silence them is unfolding, but Jake and his team are ready. Rex, his lead K9, lunges forward, taking down an attacker with precision, while Jake returns fire. The sound of gunshots echoes across the ruins, but it's clear the criminals are outgunned. The Green Beret training that Jake and his team possess is about to make all the difference. They've been in worse situations, and they know how to fight back. But the tension doesn't fade, it only grows. As Jake and the K9 Cess continue to move, the threat grows more imminent. Every corner, every shadow is a potential ambush. The battle for survival isn't just about fighting off criminals. It's about making sure they can get the evidence to the authorities before the criminal network can retaliate. The tension rises as Jake's K9 Cess move with incredible precision, uncovering more pieces of the puzzle and pushing through the wreckage. But each step brings them closer to a deadly confrontation, a fight that may determine whether they'll be able to finish their mission or if the criminals will silence them before the job is done. The clock is ticking, and Jake knows that this time, it's not just about saving lives, it's about exposing a dangerous conspiracy before it's too late. The battle may be over, but the fight is far from finished. Jake and his loyal K9 pack move swiftly through the wreckage, their mission still urgent as they escape the immediate danger. With the evidence in hand, Jake knows that they've uncovered something far bigger than just a rescue operation. They've exposed a criminal network, operating under the cover of a disaster zone, and now it's their job to ensure these criminals face the full force of justice. As the team makes their way back, the weight of the mission settles on Jake's shoulders. The world may see him as just another soldier, but today, he's proven that his purpose is far from over. The search and rescue team meets them at the edge of the disaster zone, their faces lighting up as they realize the mission has been a success. The evidence is secure, the criminals are one step closer to being brought to justice, and lives have been saved. The team, once weary and demoralized, now shares a moment of triumph. But Jake knows better. He can feel it in his gut. The fight is just beginning. As Jake stands among the wreckage, watching the team celebrate their success, a new purpose becomes clear to him. This wasn't just about saving people from a natural disaster. It was about exposing the darker side of human nature that uses chaos as a cover for its criminal intentions. His K9 pack has done more than just save lives. They've uncovered a conspiracy, and they're now at the forefront of a battle that goes beyond anything Jake could have imagined when he first agreed to return to the field. Jake looks down at Rex, his ever-loyal partner, and the other dogs, each one a warrior in its own right. Together they've found a new mission, one that won't end with this victory. They've opened the door to a much larger war, a fight that will take them to the very edges of justice, bringing down the criminals hiding in plain sight. This isn't just about one mission, it's about keeping the fight alive, ensuring that the truth is always uncovered, no matter how deep it's buried. As the mission wraps up, Jake reflects on what's ahead. His retirement may be over, but that's exactly how he wanted it. He's not just returning to his past life, he's moving forward with a purpose, and with his K9 pack by his side, there's no challenge they can't face. The fight for justice has just begun, and Jake is ready for whatever comes next. If you enjoyed this thrilling adventure, where a veteran and his K9 team risk everything to uncover a criminal network hiding in plain sight, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The next chapter in Jake's journey is already unfolding, and you won't want to miss what's coming next in this life or death battle.